All right, here we go. We have actor TC Carson in the building. Welcome to Vlad TV.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate it.
Hey man, longtime fan. Living Single was my joint. I used to watch it every week.
Well, cool. Thank you.
Oh yeah, and also a big fan of the stuff you did with video games as well.
Oh, yeah, I love the video game work, man. I really do like doing studio work.
Oh yeah, I was planning on being Kratos this year for Halloween, but unfortunately, it just didn't work out because of
Next year.
COVID and everything. Next year,
Next year.
next
Next
year,
year.
I'll be working out to try to get a little more buffed up. But okay, so this is your first time here, so I want to, get the whole story. So you grew up in Chicago,
Yes.
okay? And what was Chicago like in the '60s and '70s?
Well, I grew up in the projects, LeClaire Courts. It was projects out on the southwest side of Chicago, out by Cicero. And it was what they called the low risers. We didn't have really tall buildings. The tallest building was 3 stories. We lived in a 2-story, basically townhome, but it was the projects. We had upstairs, downstairs. We both had a room. My mother was a single parent. We had a single parent household, and the projects weren't they weren't bad when I was growing up. We had people took care of each other. They built a pool for us. There was a clubhouse in the summertime, so they did things for us. So a lot of the turmoil that you hear about that time, we didn't really experience out there where we were.
Okay, now you grew up in a single family home, in a single parent home,
Mhm.
but you had a relationship with your father.
Yes. Yes, I
Okay,
did.
so were your parents just not married, or they divorced, or what happened
My
exactly?
parents were never married. They were never married. And I did have a relationship with my father, but he did not live with us.
Okay. Now, when you talk about Chicago in the '70s,
Mhm.
it was kind of a crazy time. I mean, with the gang culture, with Larry Hoover and Jeff Fort, their whole organization started to build up into the thousands
Mhm.
at that point. Did you ever get kind of mixed up in the streets at all? Or did you kind of stay out the way?
No, man, I was a very nerdy kid. I didn't really hang out with the gangs. I had relatives that lived in the project, so my cousin made sure that his younger siblings and his younger cousins were not bothered by the brothers in the gangs.
Okay, so you were a school kid.
Pretty much, yeah.
Mhm.
I was
Just
artistic,
you,
I was
yeah.
creative. I drew, I painted, I made things. Only child, I'm in the house. What you gonna do?
I feel you. I'm the only child as well.
Oh, see, so
I
you
was
know.
I was the same type of way. I
Yeah,
wasn't trying to be around a bunch of people like that.
right.
Okay, so you grew up in Chicago. You graduate high school.
Hmm.
Then you go to college. You go
Yes, I
to
did.
University of Illinois, Urbana-Champaign.
Yes. Studied architecture and interior design.
Yep. Now, why that?
Um, it was something I really wanted to do. I really wanted to build my mother a house.
Hmm.
And so I figured, well, if I want to build her a house, then I need to learn how to build a house. So I went to school for architecture. I realized that I liked interior design better. It wasn't as technical. And so I kind of switched over.
Okay. Now you're going to college, but you don't really have a lot of money at this point. So you got
Right.
to work a bunch of jobs to try to even, pay your tuition and room and board and so forth. How tough was that?
It was pretty rough. I was working 2 jobs and going to school. Uh, my mom just couldn't afford it. I got a couple of scholarships, but they, ended the first year. So after that, I had to work. And, you do what you got to do.
So you worked as a doorman,
Yeah,
and I'm quoting you here. You said, "I hated the subservience of it as a black man, but I know that I
absolutely.
needed to work."
I had just moved back to Chicago from U of I. My father actually got me that gig. He worked as a doorman in a building a few blocks down. So he knew these people over here. So he got me that job. It wasn't the fact that I had to open doors or answer phones. It was the way people treated you because you opened the door.
Mm.
Like you were a non-entity. And It let me know that this was something that I did not want to do for the rest of my life. And it made me really push forward in the dreams that I had.
Oh yeah, there's nothing like the worst job during the struggle.
Right?
You know. Oh yeah. Now I remember when I was trying to be a DJ. I DJ'd at this failing strip club in Brooklyn, where like 2 or 3 people would show up a night, and I just remember I was like 30 at the time, going like, "Is this like where did I make a wrong turn to end up right here? And let me get the hell up out of here as quickly as possible."
That's it.
Yeah, yeah. You definitely need that to kind of drive you to do better things.
Do you really?
I think so.
Okay.
I think so. I think so.
Okay.
I think everyone goes through the struggle to a
Yeah.
certain degree. If you don't go through it, I don't think you really achieve the greatness or even appreciate it when it is presented to you.
That part, I don't think you appreciate it. Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't think you appreciate it.
Okay. So, at what point did the acting start coming around?
Well, I started doing theater and music in grade school. They had a program back then called the Title VI program that brought music and theater and dance to inner city kids. And that started in 5th grade. And I continued that through my middle school years.
Okay. And then once you went to college, did you still continue to do plays and so forth?
Absolutely. I was doing theater, I was dancing, I was in the black chorus. Yeah, I did quite a bit. That's why it was hard for me in college because I was doing too much and working, you know.
Right. Because at one point you just drop out of school.
Yeah, I left. I had about a semester and a half to go, something like that. And I ran out of money. I was tired.
Yeah.
And I
So,
realized that I wanted to do what I'm doing now. I wanted to sing. I wanted to be on stage. And I was going to school for something that I was not going to be doing.
right. So, was there like a move to Hollywood, to LA at one point?
I moved to LA when I got living single.
Aha. So before then, you were still in Chicago.
Yes.
Okay. So how did you end up getting that gig?
Just auditioned for it. And they had actually, I thought they were going to hire somebody else because they told me thanks, but no thanks. And then they came back and said, we want you to come out and screen test for the role. He was the last character they were hiring. And I came in on a Tuesday. We went and screen test on Wednesday, and I went to work Thursday.
Okay. And the auditions, they were in Chicago?
No, they flew, the original audition was in Chicago. We taped it,
Ah,
but they flew me out for the screen test.
okay. So after auditioning in Chicago, you were one of the standouts. They flew you out, did the further testing. They said, okay, this is our Kyle right here.
Correct.
Okay. So, out of the blue, you go from someone that's doing theater that's not really making a lot of money to suddenly you're on a major sitcom.
Well, not necessarily out of the blue. I had had a series before that called Key West with Fisher Stevens and Jennifer Tilly. I had had a movie called Living Large
Mm.
before that. So, but I will say that this was the first time that I was with a cast like I was with and on a major net. Well, no, because Key West was on Fox as well. Um, but it was the move to California. It was the it was a life-changing moment because I left LA. I mean, I left Chicago and moved to LA.